Thank you for your interest in our Big Crawler BarNone project. My name is Scott Baker. I'm the inventor of the Big Crawler, and this is going to be a video giving you some information, details, and pricing on our newest BarNone version of the Big Crawler. Right off the front, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the price for this is $3299.99. That is without shipping and handling, and that is without a case. I cannot find a case at this moment that's under $200 or so, but I'm going to be continuing to look for one, but right now we're not offering a case for it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some rundown and some insight on what we've built here. What we start with is, well, the Big Crawler. This is actually our fourth version of the Big Crawler. I haven't built them in a couple of years since the 360 model, but we've come back now and we're starting to do them again since we relocated here to Florida. I know a bunch of you probably seen the gray version running around, which is my own personal model. I built this a little bit ago because I saw a lot of other crawlers were popping up, and I don't think that they were of very good quality, and there was a lot of new technology that had come out since I stopped making them. So I thought I would go ahead and put one together using all of the latest technologies that I could find today to show what could be done with a crawler when you make one properly and you don't base it on a metal pre-made box by a manufacturer. This one is 100% custom put together. I've used a lot of stock parts, but you'll see with the 3D printing and the way everything's put together, this is all our own design and layout. I start with the axial Capra chassis kit, and with that you actually have to build everything by hand. It's not a pre-made kit, so I end up using the transmission and the front axle and some links and some shocks out of it. All of those pieces are, like I said, I have to assemble those by hand. Nothing comes pre-made in that kit. It's a cage-based rock crawler, so as you can see, this is a framed base crawler, so the cage for the Capra is not even used. A lot of the parts that come in the box are not used for this project. We end up buying a second front axle assembly, complete assembly, to put on the back for our four-wheel steering. This is one of the largest upgrades we made with the new version. With the Capra coming out, that was an easy mod to make on it when you use it as a regular rock crawler. So using it for our crawl space crawler was just a no-brainer. This is one of the biggest upgrades, like I said. You can now go around concrete footers and piers in the crawl space, no problem. Turns around at about a 12-inch radius. Works really well. Starting at the front of the crawler, I have a new setup for the lights. We're only running 3 now instead of 4. These are brand new lights for it. They work really great. I'm actually looking to upgrade my original crawler with this same lighting configuration. Once I can kind of catch up, I like this light setup so much more. We have our camera at the front, covered by a camera hard hat. We're the only one that's offering this right now. This is very much needed, especially in the tight crawl spaces when you're trying to squeeze underneath pipes and ducting. You don't want the camera to get damaged or to have any of those things push the button and turn the camera off. So it comes with a camera hard hat, also comes with a spare just in case you happen to lose this one. Integral roll bar protects the camera just in case there is a rollover. Let's go ahead and take the hard hat off. We're using a Runcam 4K, Runcam 2 4K camera for this project. Unfortunately, this camera only shoots in 4K. There's no manual selection for switching back and forth between pictures and video. There's only one other camera that I tried using, which is a Get Up camera. I tried that when I was building my gray one originally, and I was not very happy with the quality of it. So I went back to an older camera on my own personal BarNone project. This one is a lot smaller than the Get Up, works a lot better, and has a higher video recording capability. So what you have to do is when you're going to use the crawler, which I'll show you once I turn it on, hit the record button, or it's actually auto record, I believe. Just put it in the crawl space. When I use my personal one, I do the same thing. I hit video, I record the entire crawl space, and then I come back home or the office and sit in front of the monitor and make sure that I've picked out all of the defects that I could find by just doing screenshots out of the video. I don't want to run into any kind of issues with switching back and forth between video and picture taking when it's in an area that I cannot get it to and I might miss something. So I always just run video when I cannot get my own personal unit. As we work our way back, you'll see we use all stainless steel hardware for all the screws and nuts and washers throughout the crawler. We use plastic holders for like the antenna holders. We use a lot of pre-made parts for keeping all the wires nice and tidy and up against the frame rails. All the electronics are very nice and tidy, run right down the center of the chassis. There's nothing hanging off the side or down low, which is going to cause you any kind of issues. Speed controller and receiver are both in the front of the chassis. Motor sits right back here off the transmission. It's a Holmes 55 turn motor, which is a slower motor than what comes stock in most RCs. They're usually a 27 or 35. Using the 55 slows down our BarNone version enough so that you have great control in the crawl space. We've also redone the gearing so that it slows it down also. We got it running to a little bit faster than a walking pace. That way there you can keep control when it's in the crawl space, because things happen very quickly when you're down there and you're not seeing what's going on directly. You'll notice a lot of crawlers and bots when you watch their videos. They're very herky-jerky and they're moving around a lot, which makes it very easy to drop into a hole or run into something that you're not wanting to do. That's why we've taken great care to make sure that not only is this the most highest performing crawler available right now, it's also the most maneuverable and most easiest to drive and to get out of danger with. As we work our way back, battery right here, it's a smaller battery. I get about 20 minutes of run life out of this. Like I said, when I first came back with the BarNone version, I wasn't planning on selling it. So what I really concentrated on was using the highest quality parts so that it performed the best that I could. It's not a big DeWalt or Milwaukee battery that's hanging off of the back of your crawler, just destroying the weight distribution, just so you could get a long run time. There's going to be some compromises to be had, but I went for all-out performance. 20 minutes usually gives me plenty of time to inspect a crawl space. To remove the battery, you just pull this Velcro. Battery comes right out. You can put another one right in its place and you're ready to go again for another 20 minutes. Other side of the battery is a fan and a little wind tunnel that I constructed, and what it's doing is it's blowing cool air over the transmitter. Very important. We actually did a lot of research and I found the most powerful transmitter that I could. There's also an unlock code for it, so it's actually outputting higher than any other transmitter I could find. Another very important thing when you're trying to keep that signal from your transmitter to your screen is to have the most powerful transmitter you can find. Good question for some of the other guys that are selling these things is, what is their transmitter output? With such a high performance transmitter, it needs to be kept cool. And you got to remember, these are parts that were meant for drones, and when drones are flying, there's a lot of air going over the chassis to keep all of these parts cool. When you're crawling in a crawl space with these, there's no air going over any of these components, and these transmitters get extremely hot. Once they get hot, you lose signal, and that's the last thing you want in a crawl space. So we've set that up with a fan so that we have no issues with that. Right behind that at the very end is a little battery meter readout, digital readout. This tells you how much battery charge is in the battery, which is basically like a little gas tank gauge, so you know how much charge you have left. When I'm running it in the crawl space, if I'm pushing 10 or 15 minutes, I'll try to drive my crawler by the access opening so I can get an eye on this readout. Once you've driven this a few times, you'll see where the battery dies out at. You'll see the numbers, so you'll get a good idea of how far you can go with how low you can run the battery. Side panels, we've done a redesign on these, made them a little bit smaller so you can go over obstacles easy. They've been kept fairly tight to keep cables out when you're turning. If you do happen to get a cable stuck in here, you can see once you turn the wheel the other way, it has a wide open way to escape, so we've tried to take some good care on that to eliminate snags. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on for you guys so you can see what's going on. First thing I do is turn on the radio. I'll turn on the screen next. All I have is just the one connection for the crawler itself, which is the battery. Everything turns on. There's a little white connector right here which connects the battery balancing cable to the digital readout gauge. And you can see it gives you a readout for the entire charge of the battery as well as each of the 3 cells. You can see the fan running, possibly, which is blowing cool air over our transmitter, which is keeping it cool. Run can camera, you can see the red light on at the back, which means that the camera itself is getting a charge from the crawler. We make sure that we charge the camera off the crawler so you never have an issue with the battery running out in the camera. Go ahead and hit the power button. Turns the camera on. You can see that it's flashing blue, or you might not be able to, but once you turn the camera on, it's set to auto record. In the upper right hand corner of the screen is a flashing dot, which means that we are recording. Left stick works the pan as well as the tilt. Has 180 degrees of pan. Right stick works forward and backward as well as steering. It has about a 12-inch radius turnaround, like I said. Hit the power button one more time and it'll stop the video from running. This camera also has Wi-Fi capability and an app that I recommend putting on your phone. In that app is all of the different settings for it. Picture settings, video settings, adjustments, things like that, exposure, sharpness, things like that. You can change the video rate that you like. That's about all I got. If you guys or ladies have any questions at all about the crawler, please do give me a call. You can hit me up on Messenger on Facebook, which is probably the best way. Or if you want to talk about ordering, we can definitely do that. There are some small upgrades I've done between my personal unit and this one, which I can get into in another video, but they're very small differences that are very easily added after the fact when you guys purchase one, if you do. So, thank you so much for sitting through the entire video and listen to me ramble for a while. Like I said, questions, please give me a reach out and we'll take it from there. Thank you so much for watching.